Hi, I'm Kiwi.
And I'm Jared.
And we are the two gentlemen. Jared, how are you?
Well, still well. No, I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Good to hear.
Yourself?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good, yeah. So, look, last episode we were talking about self-defense and...
Yeah.
Well, that's where we ended anyway.
Yeah,
I was talking about how I've done plenty of martial arts in my life and, I've done boxing and Kali and Hapkido and I've learned all these different ways to protect myself from being punched.
Physically?
Yep, physically. And I've been taught so many different ways to express myself physically. But at no point in my life was I ever taught to express myself emotionally and to use words to convey my emotions. And I was wondering, have you had the same experience?
Well, first, I want to say, do you think you should have been taught that? Is that something that you felt was lacking when we've grown up, or? Yeah.
Definitely lacking.
Yeah.
When you say, should I have been taught it, I don't know whose responsibility that is.
Yeah.
Like, is that, the state is meant to teach you that at school, or is there a club where you learn, verbal jiu-jitsu, as they call it?
Well, I did a course called verbal judo. Yeah, look, I said it in a little bit of jest because it was one of those funny things, like you go, oh, not much to do with judo. I did judo when I was in year 2.
I remember, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, I won't go into it, but
I just want to mention to the listeners out there that I actually remember this from when we were kids, and I remember you being disappointed because they always put you up against kids that were heaps older than you.
They were so much older because of my weight.
Yeah. And that was really unfair.
Well, it was tough, but hey, I just went on with it, didn't I? But yeah. So that was probably the end of my judo career because I couldn't. I was versing 14-year-olds.
Yeah, I remember.
As a 7 or 8-year-old, So,
but back to judo of the verbal variety.
Judo, yeah. So it was a course I did for work because.
What job was this?
So at the time, at the time I was investigating sort of people who had maybe done the wrong thing. So your risk and compliance. Yeah, compliance-based sort of thing. So below police, more of the local sort of side of things. So you'd come into situations where, you wouldn't have... People wouldn't respect you, all that sort of stuff. So you... sometimes you had to tell people that they've done the wrong thing or you found out that they've done the wrong thing. So it was all about being able to deflect... aggression, verbal aggression, and how not to, incite violence.
I guess escalate a situation.
Escalate the situation into something that it shouldn't be because, you've got agitated at something that you probably shouldn't be agitated at as an employee doing something. So, it was pretty basic, but it was, it was a work thing and it was because of the job I did. So I was, I wasn't a kid by any means. I was well into the workforce.
Was it helpful?
Look, I still use little things from that, like, I think we sort of, the whole stepping aside and letting people blow off steam, really helps in those situations because if you can just think of if somebody's yelled at you for 5-10 minutes, those minutes, there's probably 4 or 5 things they want to get off their chest, but they've just, they're frustrated. So, you need to be able to address those 3 or 4 or 5 things that they've got in that. And if you can let them completely blow off steam and then stop, and then they've got almost like they've run out of battery. Yeah. Then you can then go backwards and go, okay, let's talk about the first thing that you mentioned. And if they can go, oh, this guy, I've just called him every name under the sun, and he still wants to talk to me. He hasn't, so you get a bit of respect that way. I mean, there are people that don't respond to that sort of stuff, but a lot of society, if they're in that situation, they're not bad people. Yeah. They're just frustrated. Yeah. So that's partly me. I think that's the way I look at things, but that's come from experience and probably my first thought of that is, what I learned in that course.
It's also your nature, though. You are an empathic person.
I think I've kind of found that's what I was sort of trying to say that it was sort of natural for me, but, being told that this is the way you do it is a good sort of thing. Okay, I can do this naturally, and this is the way I should do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's about, I guess, being secure enough in yourself to be able to handle those verbal barrages and be able to be, have the presence of mind to actually listen to the person.
Yeah, yeah.
Amongst all of
that,
the insults.
You know, and it doesn't, that doesn't, you know, like I said, I'm pretty open to be called anything. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But, you know, like obviously there's lines people shouldn't cross, but, you know, like I'm pretty forgiving sort of person. So if somebody's having a bad day, I'll let them have that bad day.
Yeah.
And come talk to them tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, take their, whatever they have to take, and I go home and sleep easy. I'm fine with it. But, you know, and then I'll come back and help fix their problem if I can, hopefully. So.
Okay. That's all in a professional capacity.
Yes. What
about in your day-to-day life? How are you with confrontation?
Probably pretty average.
Yeah.
I'm good at, I think I'm pretty good at giving advice if I need to. Oh, you know, you should go and write an email, or you should do this, and, you know, have you thought about doing this? And, you know, if I'm giving advice to somebody, but if I'm doing it, I'll tell you what, I struggle with it.
Yeah.
I struggle with it. I mean, it's not natural for me to be on the other side. Like, I guess it's not. I'm okay. Like we just said, I'm okay with copying it and taking it in and then using it. But I guess if I need to confront somebody about something, I probably would struggle on that end.
Yep.
Always have.
Have you ever managed staff before?
Not massively. I've had a couple of people that I've had to direct, but I'm not a direct manager.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so no, I wouldn't say that. And I'm sure, I think I'd have my moments if I had to.
Yeah.
You know, the whole hiring and firing sort of thing, I'd struggle with that sort of thing, and then all the bits that happen in between.
Yeah. You
know, all the problems they have, dealing with all that would be pretty tough. Pretty tricky.
I can imagine.
What about yourself? Have you? I mean, I know you. You seem like a really sort of. You are a very calming influence on somebody, but on people, and I don't know I can't imagine you being in a confrontational situation, or in a situation where, you know, you had to be a little bit abrupt.
Yeah,
I don't know how you would handle that.
I try not to.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at difficult conversations. So I have managed people, and my way of management is leading by example. You know, I'm not a micromanager. I believe in encouraging people. I think, as we discussed, definitely trust. And what we talked about in the earlier podcast about holding space for people.
Yep.
I think if you give people that trust and hold space for them and let them know that, hey, I believe in you. How are you going to go about this? They will take that opportunity with both hands.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, for things that are a bit more confrontational, like imagine telling someone that they smell, for example. And this is actually a real situation that I've encountered, and I avoided it. Yeah. I didn't have the heart to tell this person that they really smell.
Do you think they knew that?
I don't know if you can smell yourself.
I know. Look, I know. Like, I'm not a smelly person. Well, I hope I'm not. But I'm sitting here close quarters with you, so I'm hoping you'd tell me. But, you know, there's times where, you know, like I might have had a busy day or whatever, and I'm like, I need to jump in the shower. You know, like that's... Yeah. But, so I can smell myself, essentially. Yeah. But I mean, if there's people that unfortunately do have that problem and they walk around all day, is that something that sort of, you know, like, surely, like... But again, it's yourself, so that's just you. So, you know, you don't know that the odor is offensive to others, you know.
And the thing is, it's all relative to different people. For example, you know, I don't like cigarette smoke, but someone else can't smell it on themselves, and it's perfectly legal to smoke cigarettes. So that's how they smell, that's how they smell. Yeah. But I'm talking about in a workplace where I have had to work with someone who had a strong odor. Yep. And it was a female too. Oh. Which made it even tougher.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm already getting, like, weirded out of this.
Yeah, but I avoided it.
Yeah.
That's the truth here. Everybody that's listening, I didn't want to have that difficult conversation. Yeah. And I had never been taught up until that point how to do that.
Yeah. Well, and it is tough. And tell me, like, I'll backtrack a little bit. You said that I mentioned, and you also agreed that, you know, you trust these... Yep. Let's say your employees, for lack of better words. What if that trust was broken? Has it been broken? And if it hasn't, how would you deal with that?
Yeah, it's never been broken, actually.
Okay. Well, that's really good to hear.
Yeah, it is good to hear. I'd definitely have to, as in that particular role, I'd have to have a supervision session with the person.
Yeah.
And I'd tell them, I suppose in the most polite possible way, I don't make the person the problem. I don't think it's the person. It's always the behavior. And I'd like to examine why things happened.
That behavior is,
Yeah, and it's very possible that things happen for a good reason that I don't understand it.
Of course.
And that's always my first thought. Okay, let's see what's actually happened here. I think too many people jump to conclusions.
But that's a very understanding way to look at things. I mean, we all have worked with people that would not be able to handle a trust being broken.
Yeah.
Whether it be a small thing or obviously a larger thing may need more action. But essentially, if something quite minor, I don't know, who knows, somebody says they were here and they weren't for, they were 20 minutes here, whatever something that's people do all the time. They sort of sometimes, you think some people jump to, 0 to 10, or 0 to 100 really quick.
Yeah.
As managers.
Yeah.
So if you're employing me, I'm really happy about that. But do you expect that from your management? Like what happens if something goes wrong? Obviously you're not going to try and break the trust of management, but not everything goes right all the time.
No.
Or somebody might get something wrong and say, Kiwi did this or didn't do this, and then you've got to defend yourself against a different form of management.
Yeah,
that's a difficult conversation as well. Telling management that they're wrong or defending yourself.
You know what? It's only difficult if you're not using the truth.
Yeah.
That's the thing. When you're trying to cover your butt, that's a tougher situation, okay?
Yeah.
I think if both sides are being honest, and if you come from different points of view, that's fine. That's totally fine, I believe.
Yeah.
But if it's you against management, then it comes down to policy.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Now, I've gone against management because I believed management was going against policy.
Okay.
And I'm very confident in doing that because I will be backed by the words.
There's no BS.
What's written down.
Like,
exactly.
You're not,
it's as simple as that.
It up.
No, exactly. So it's very difficult to back your judgment sometimes.
Yeah.
Like even, imagine a game of football if you deviated from the game plan, just said, well, I just thought this play was on, and the coach is like, we've done this. This is the playbook.
Yeah.
Unless you scored the try.
That's right.
You're going to get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's I've even scored the try and got in trouble.
Well, I remember black dot back in under 15s.
Yeah.
I've actually thought about that. That was hilarious.
I don't remember it. I remember it, but I got in trouble for not doing something, but I scored the try.
Yeah.
I didn't run a particular direction, and I got yelled at. It was good times.
But yet, look, the thing is, like, you didn't take a backward step on the field. Neither did I.
No.
But in real life, I feel like, I probably do avoid confrontation too much.
I do as well. So I think we're sort of sitting here agreeing on that. And it's tough because you do it.
Yeah.
But I try and look at things and work things out and how scenarios will go. And I just don't like being that guy.
I know.
I think, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way. But
what does that say about us? Is that saying that we're cowards?
Yeah.
Because we're saying, I don't want to be that guy, but hopefully someone else is that guy.
Yeah, that's right. And
I don't know.
And I always use, like, when I was doing compliance work, which I don't do now, I always use that, that saying of, don't use my niceness as my weakness. I think my niceness is weakness, But in saying that, like, it probably was my weakness at times with that job.
Yeah.
So when I had to do and have difficult conversations with people about what they've done and how they've done it, I knew me being there, I was the problem. Yeah. I hated that. I was trying to fix the problem, but I was the problem. I represented the problem.
Yeah.
So I can imagine we're very similar in the way that we don't want to be the problem. So can you imagine being in that? Like, that was tough.
Yeah.
That was a tough part of my life. Doing for 2 years, I did something.
You were the bad guy.
Yeah, and I represented the problem. And my natural instinct is to help and go and solve the problem. You can't solve it when you are representing it.
Yeah.
So when push comes to shove, you have to act and. You can be the nice guy as much as you can, but sometimes you have to take that. Sort of,
yeah.
Oh man, I still get, like, I'm sitting here with, like, sort of my shoulders are together, and you know, like I feel like 10 millimeters tall. Like I just, you know, like it just makes me queasy now thinking about all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, but that's just from my life experience, you know. Like
Yeah.
I just don't like being that person.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you an example of an opportunity I could have been that guy.
Yep.
I was on a bus coming back from Manly to Freshwater, and I was with one of my clients.
Yep.
I work with people with disabilities, so I was with a vulnerable person.
Yep.
Anyway, there were some kids up the back. I know they were kids because, you know, they were 16-ish.
Yeah.
Actually, the guy said he was 16.
Okay.
And the bus driver several times told them to get their feet off the seats.
Okay.
And the bus driver from the beginning had just had enough. And the kids were apologetic. They're like, sorry, I won't do it again.
Yep.
Did it again.
Yeah.
Sorry, I won't do it again.
Yeah, okay.
Third time,
Yeah.
bus driver pulls over, turns the bus off. Right, get off the bus.
Wow.
And these kids were just like, oh, no, I swear, you know, I promise I won't do it again. You know, I'll put my feet, you know, over here so I can't put them up in the seat. And the bus driver goes, you can go home, put up your feet wherever you want, you know. And the kid's like, no, I don't want to, no, I swear, you know, I promise I won't.
This is a public bus.
This is a public bus,
right.
yep, Sydney buses.
Yeah.
And the kids wouldn't get off.
Wow.
And I was like, well, if they don't get off, the whole bus is just going to turn on them. So
that's
they're going
right.
to get off. Like, this is just natural.
Yeah.
This is a natural process. They're going to get off.
Yeah.
And I was there with a client, so I was kind of out of the game. You know, I can't,
Of course, yeah.
you know, I can't not do my job, which is to keep this person safe.
Yeah.
And another guy gets up, an older guy, so probably our age. Yeah. Say older, but
I know,
probably
it's
our age.
That's another discussion.
But he's like, he goes, he told these kids off.
Yeah, okay.
Told them to get off the bus, and
Yeah.
so they had an argument. These
Right.
kids, you know, I don't know about you, but as a 16-year-old, we weren't going to, you know, let some
back down
grown
to
up
some
tell
old
us.
guy.
Yeah, exactly. So they had their little argument, and then another guy gets up and plays good cop. He's like, "Look, guys, you know, the next bus is coming in 20 minutes. Just, you know, just get off. Everyone wants to go home."
Yeah.
So the kids listened to this guy.
Okay.
And he actually said, "Oh, I'll get off for you, mate, but not for that guy."
Yeah,
and then
right,
when
yeah,
it get off, "Oh, mate, you're a joke." And, you know, they had this extra argy-bargy.
Yeah, very brave.
Exactly. But I was just sitting there, man. I didn't do anything. I didn't want to be that guy.
No.
Now, I wasn't scared of fighting or anything like that. Nothing was going to go down. It was fine.
Yeah.
But,
You didn't want to be that guy to stand up.
and I just think, why not? Like, did I fear
You wanted
that...
to get home. You wanted to get where you were going.
Which I would.
Yeah.
Would have anyway. So, physically, in any way, I wasn't under threat.
No.
So why didn't I go and just go, "Hey guys, you know, can
Yeah.
you please get off the bus?" It's what the bus driver wanted. I'm a very calm guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I could have, you know, done it much better than the first guy.
Yeah,
The second guy did a great job, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But, does that mean I'm a coward?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I don't know.
I don't have an answer for you because I can imagine I'd probably do the same. I've been in situations where you think, "Oh, I wish they'd be quiet." Like, just, you know, let's just say public spaces, and those kids are carrying on, not, you know, whatever. I wish they'd be quiet, but you do see some people that, I will say, quite recently actually, I had my girls and I took them to a park.
Yep.
That was near a soccer field.
Yep.
And there's like play equipment there. Took them onto there, and it was straight after school. And I thought, I've got 10, 15 minutes, they can have a run around. Get there, and there was a high school there playing, doing their sport. So the field was quite close to us, high school. So they were doing their Tuesday afternoon sport. So they were playing soccer. But there was a whole bunch of kids just hanging around the play equipment, and they were just hanging around, and they were swearing.
Yeah.
You know, just being kids though. Like, they weren't doing anything. And there was one kid there go, "Hey, what's your language?" You know, like someone, they sort of cared, but it got to the point where there was probably about 5, 6, 7 F-bombs dropped, right? I was the closest to say, but I never said anything again. I'm in the same, I'm here with my girls. I should be protecting them.
Yeah.
Part of me is like, well, you know, here's what it is. It's a word, and they were just being a little bit over the top, you know. They were sort of on the swings and they were throwing them a bit high. Like, these things designed for little kids, you know. But, you know, I don't know. 10 years ago, I wouldn't even blink an eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different situation, different priorities.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, again, it was only me and my girls.
Yeah.
And there was 7 or 8 school kids. Again, I wasn't feeling threatened physically.
No.
Really, if anything, if anyone carried on, like, their teacher was right there.
Yeah.
You know, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't.
Yeah.
I knew the sort of kids. They weren't bad kids.
Yeah.
But they were just being, 14-year-olds.
Yeah, of course.
But
And we were like that.
I also think I don't want to be that guy who, a 40-year-old that gets aggressive towards. Not that I would be, but I don't want to be portrayed as like that guy. Like, oh, they're just being kids, and this guy was a pork chop.
Yeah.
When really, I'm just trying to, protect my kids. And if somebody then did say something wrong, or I can't, my protectiveness would kick in. Like if somebody did swear at me or to call my kids a name, like I feel like I'd control myself, but it's definitely something that, like, oh, what if that happened? Like, like our natural instinct is to protect our children, and like I didn't want to see. Yeah, there was a few things why I didn't do it, but I didn't. I didn't say anything, and I could have.
And this goes back to what I was talking about right at the beginning of the episode. Like, if one of those kids had thrown a punch at you, what would you have done? You could have defended yourself.
Yes.
If those kids on the bus had, picked a fight with me, for example, I could have protected myself.
Yeah.
But yet I don't have the skills or drive to go up and just talk to them.
Drive. I think. Do you think it's like? I think we've got the skills to do it. Like, you can talk to someone and say, "Hey guys, you need to settle down because this," or the guy, the bus driver, is going to stop. Or in your case, he already had. He's asked you to leave.
But there's no set phrase, is there? Whereas, how many set moves are there in karate, taekwondo, hapkido? You know what I mean? Like, you just learn. Okay, if someone does this, you can do this, and you know where to put your feet.
Yeah.
Whereas in a verbal situation, just even to have the first word would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But I think it's the drive. You've got to really want to do it. Whereas some people want to do it. Yeah. Or they're looking for that sort of, I don't know.
Yeah.
More comfortable in that situation, and they're happy to do it. I don't have an answer.
You are definitely taking yourself out of your comfort zone, aren't you? When you are, like, you're stepping into a battlefield almost, aren't you?
You've got to make that decision to do it. Like, it's not like, if somebody comes and verbally attacks you, you either walk away, if you can, or if you're backed into a corner, you've then got to try and defend yourself verbally. Yeah. But you're the one making the first move. Yeah. You're the one going, "Hey guys, pull your head in. Stop dropping the F-bombs. My girls are here." Yeah, even if you're the nicest person in the world and try and be nice, there'd still be some little smart aleck. Yeah. That would just go, "Yeah, right." Like you said, they got off the bus and then they were, telling the guy this and that.
I think he said, "Oh, you're a joke, mate."
Yeah. But there's always going to be that little asshole.
Yeah.
In that case, anyway.
And so, what if they are?
Yeah, who cares?
That's the thing.
They're just kids.
Actually, it has reminded me, there was one time that I did confront somebody.
Yep.
And we were in a public park in Homebush, and we were just with, I only had one child at the time, who is a garbage enthusiast, as you know.
Yeah.
And there were two women there with some kids, and they left all this rubbish around.
Right.
And I was just watching them going, surely they're going to put that in the bin. And then they got up to leave.
Yeah.
I thought, I've got to say something. Like, this is, as part of bigger society, needs to send them a signal that this is not okay. And I said, "Excuse me, are you just going to leave that rubbish there?"
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, well, the bin's all the way over there and I've got to watch my kids." And I was like, "But there's two of you. There were two adults there."
Yeah.
So surely they could have tag teamed that. And she was just like, "Oh, okay then." I was like, "Oh, look, don't worry about it. My son's already taken it." Because my son collects rubbish, and puts it in the bin. And he cleans up all the time. So, but even then, I had to muster up something inside me to make me walk over there to talk to these two women.
Yeah.
And I was as polite as I could be. I didn't try to shame anybody. And I think I'd definitely love to talk to you about shame another time, because that's a huge thing.
Yep.
But that was one occasion where I've actually done something I should have.
Really wrong. Like, that's the way I think of things.
I know,
like,
it could have.
You're with, what if they turn on you? Like, not physically, but just, and you're with your young son.
Yeah.
And that, I guess I overthink things maybe, and that's why I don't go into it. Like, how could this end? Like, the way that I approach situations, I'm always looking through the scenarios.
Yeah.
So maybe that has a lot to do with it, and then that affects my drive to make that initial, like, be the authority or something. I don't know, like that. I mean, this is one particular version of a difficult conversation. Like, there's so many difficult conversations you got to have in life. Wills and that's who wants to talk about that.
I know. Well, it'll be us one day. So.
That's one thing, but there's many more where workplace and family and friends and things like that. Like, this is just one aspect of a different conversation. Obviously, I'm not going to say we're not equipped, because I think we're equipped, but I
don't think I'm drilled.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
I think we know.
Really big difference.
We know what we should say sometimes, and hindsight.
I think you know what you should say after the fact.
Yeah. Hindsight's
You're
a
like,
wonderful thing.
oh, I've got the best comeback.
Yeah.
Oh, that conversation's over.
Yeah, that was a week ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But whereas, like I said, I've been drilled in that many different ways to protect myself from a punch, and that many ways to throw a punch.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so something I've been doing with my eldest son, he's a pretty sweet kid, and he's that kind of guy where you'd say, don't mistake my niceness as a weakness. And I do worry that, someone could easily, physically overpower him. I grew up rough, we're from a much rougher era. I played footy, I got smashed by guys your size. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas he's such a sweet kid.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be coached out of him. I don't want to break him into the world.
No. But
I want him to be a child as long as he can be.
Yeah, but then you want to protect. You want him to be able to handle himself.
Yeah. So we do, some drills, but we also do verbal drills, and that's something I never got taught. I say things to him, and he has to stand his ground verbally with me.
Okay.
And he's become pretty good at it.
And that's a massive thing for a kid.
Absolutely.
Even though you're his dad, but for an adult to say something, and for the kid just to go, well, I think this, and and there'd be people out there listening to this that would say, well, your kid is, they need to obey, and the old school, that whole thing of you're teaching the kid to talk back, essentially. And I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but people look at it like, oh, well, what if I want my kid to have, eggs for breakfast, and they carry on about, they want something else, that's the biggest problem. I don't know what I'm getting at, but you know what I mean? Like that.
I know exactly what you're getting at because I live it.
Yeah.
My kids have been taught to talk back.
Yeah.
And I've told them from the beginning, and this is probably something for another episode, but I've told them, your job isn't to listen to mummy and daddy. Your job is to listen to the truth and to logic.
Okay.
I don't want you agreeing with me. I don't want them obeying me. I want them to turn around and say why.
Yeah.
If I give them something that's completely illogical, or if they can find another way to do it, great.
I agree but I also think I'm in a situation where I'm like, well, I can't fight all the time. Because sometimes kids fight irrationally. They'll just, from an age, they want something. They want to jump on. They want to watch something on TV, or they want something to eat, or they won't eat something. And you want to teach them to say, well, why don't you want to eat that, instead of just going, I don't want to, and carry on, right? But like I said, there'd be people out there going, mate, how do you do it? Because we fight it. Sometimes, as every parent knows, the kids could just lose their mind over nothing, and as kids get older, they're not going to have those breakdowns as quickly. But, at what age do you start? You've obviously started that quite early, but it's just, I look at it I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah.
Because, when you say, I don't want them to obey me, but then I also want them to do, if I say to do something, I'd like them to do it, so they're obeying me. But it's a tricky one. Geez, you've opened my eyes up, right at the end of the episode.
I think it's definitely a huge topic that we'll have to cover another time. But look, I'm not saying it's easy, that's for sure. And I'm not saying I'm the world's greatest dad and that my kids are the world's greatest kids. But what I do know is I love them, and I know them, and that they know me.
Yeah.
And to me, that's really, really important that they know who I am.
Yeah.
Inside and out. There's not some facade like I'm, some guy that, brings home the money, angry dad, don't talk back to him, don't you dare poke him, don't poke the bear.
Yeah.
It's, come to me. If you ever need me, I'm always there. And really, I want them to be, I don't even know what the word is, unmanipulable.
You don't know what the word is? Come on, man.
Is that a word? Unmanipulable?
Yes, it is now.
I think that appealing to someone's sense of reason is the best way to deal with anybody.
Yeah.
And I guess that's how I'd like to have dealt with those kids on the bus.
Yeah,
to appeal to their sense of reason. But there's an emotional process they've got to get through first. And there's a resistance they've got to get through first.
Of course.
Before you can get there.
Yeah.
And I didn't break my resistance. I didn't get up off the bus seat, did I?
No.
Like you said, you've got to have that drive to get there.
Yeah, that's the main part.
And I said in an earlier episode, my greatest enemy is my inertia. Wanting to change my state.
Yeah.
So I think that's the crux of it, really, Jared.
Yeah.
I've got to get used to that.
Yeah, well, we've certainly talked about some difficult stuff right there.
Yeah, how did we get here?
Well, I'm a little bit, feeling a bit weird. No, weird.
That was a surprisingly easy, difficult conversation.
Yeah, that worked well. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm shrinking into nothing. No.
Jared, thanks again for coming over.
Not a problem, mate.